This training video is brought to you by K-Alliance. K-Alliance provides high-quality instructor-led training videos for desktop, IT, and soft skills. Visit us online at www.kalliance.com to sign up for your free 7-day trial. Be sure to like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you for watching, and we hope you learned something new. Real videos, real learning, real success.
In this demonstration, we're going to look at using the remote tools in Windows 8, and those being remote assistance and remote desktop. On the one hand, available for troubleshooting purposes, on the other, just for remote management and connectivity. And so we're going to start out by making sure that they are enabled. You can go here and type in system. Actually, I don't want to type in system, excuse me. I just want to type in computer. A computer opens up that. You can right-click, go to Properties. That would be one way. I could have right-clicked it in the Start page as well. That's what I meant to do. I clicked too fast. And we get into the System Properties, or your old trusty Windows break will get you in there as well. So on the System Properties, we have Remote Settings, and we can see these two utilities. Remote Assistance is turned on by default. Remote Desktop is not. Remote Assistance allows me to solicit help from this machine. There are some settings, to allow this computer to be controlled remotely and the maximum time for an invitation, whatnot. But it is on by default. I'm going to turn on Remote Desktop. It kind of just gives me a warning that the computer's set to go to sleep, so you wouldn't be able to connect to it remotely, which is true. And then we've got the checkbox that we talked about for network level authentication. Now, by default, anybody in the Remote Desktop users group or admins would be able to actually connect. And you can add in additional users if you would like. Having done that, if I were to go and access the firewall, we'll go to the firewall and look at inbound rules. We'll need to scroll down to find remote desktop. We'll find remote desktop for user mode there. And I didn't verify this before, but that is actually enabled, okay? No, it's not enabled. The reason it's mentioned twice, because it's not enabled for the public. But if I filter by group, let me back out of that. Actually, I'm not really sure what I just clicked. So whoop, there we go. We'll get into the firewall again there. Not sure exactly what I clicked there to make that view, but I want to filter not by group. I want to filter by profile. So I'm going to filter by the domain profile and filter by the state of enabled, and then we're going to see that in fact Remote Desktop has been enabled. Okay, so that wasn't like that before. I guess you'll have to take my word for it. And when we enabled it, it enabled itself. Now the Remote Desktop connection is the way that you would make a Remote Desktop connection, okay? And so we got a couple different options here. We're going to go through these options on the General tab, the computer you want to connect to, the user you want to connect as. You can save these settings in an RDP file if you'd like. The display settings, the size of the screen and the color quality and those kinds of things. The local resources is important. This can control whether or not I'm connecting my local drives and printers. And so you can hit more here, and by default, it's not doing anything. I want to connect my drives so that my drives show up in the remote system and I can actually copy data. Okay, programs that you want to start, that's just a program that's going to automatically launch. The Experience tab is all about how everything looks, and so it kind of depends on the connection, what you want it to look like. And then the Advanced, we have a very interesting setting, very important setting, the Remote Desktop Gateway. If somebody expects to get to their desktop at the office from home, they will need to utilize the Remote Desktop Gateway. And so basically this is like a proxy server for Remote Desktop. You're saying, I want to automatically use this server for this connection. I know I'm going to plug in patrickspc.company.local, but that's not the name we want to actually connect to. We want to connect to this name or this IP address, and so it'll tunnel things through that Remote Desktop Gateway. It's very critical if you're talking about users getting access to their machines from the outside. Once you've got the options set, we can hit connect, You'll get asked, you trust this? You sure you want to do this? Yes. We say connect. We type in the account that we're going to use to connect, and then it actually makes the connection. Okay. Now in this case, that was actually connecting to a server, not a Windows 8 machine, but I'll bring that back up. But we can see that that is, that's something that I now have access to that machine as if I was sitting in front of it. So it's really the very much the same as if I was connecting to Windows 8. Remote assistance, on the other hand, type in remote assistance. We will invite someone to connect. They changed the name so many times. Invite someone to connect to your PC. I'm going to ask for help. Okay, so I'm going to invite someone I trust to help me. I save it as a file, or I use the Easy Connect option. If you save it as a file, it's an MSR incident file, and the other individual will double-click and open it up, and it'll attempt to make a connection. At that point, I will accept the connection, and we'll get that shared desktop view. For simplicity's sake here, we won't walk through that. That really has not changed since Windows XP. And so remote assistance for troubleshooting, remote desktop, and the variety of settings for just remote management of machines. So there you have it. Those are useful utilities. We need to know those from a support perspective in order to use them to assist in resolving problems. Now it's time for a pop quiz. You need to configure an option for users so that they may connect to their desktops at the office from home. Which of the following options should you configure in the remote desktop connection client? A, display. B, experience settings. C, program to run at connection. D, remote desktop gateway. The answer is D, the remote desktop gateway. A remote desktop gateway is a single point of entry into a corporate network. The remote desktop gateway can then contain policies to determine which internal machines a particular user is authorized to use remote desktop for connection. When machines sit on an internal network, you cannot simply remote desktop to them from the internet. The display settings control just the display of the remote desktop. The experience, the various display options and other settings related really just to the connection itself. And the program to run at the connection is a program that you always want to launch every time you make a connection. Clearly here the problem is them connecting to their office machines from home. And so you need a remote desktop gateway in order to do that.
We hope you enjoyed this preview video. Please click on the like button below if you did, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Be sure to visit us at www.kalliance.com to sign up for your free 7-day trial today. You could learn a lot in a week.